Catholic Charities of Santa Clara County presents Change Lives for Good with your host, Greg Kepferle.
We don't want to talk about it. We want to look the other way. We make flip jokes when we hear about it. We say, he's crazy, flipped out. Somebody's nuts, off the rocker. Yet every day we see the terrible impacts of a silent killer. We see the impact of broken, loving relationships, of divorce, of abuse, of drug addiction, suicide, violence, loss of a job, broken communities, broken homes. This is the stigma of mental illness. What can we do about this? Hello, I'm Greg Kepferle, CEO of Catholic Charities of Santa Clara County, and welcome to Change Lives for Good. Today we're going to talk about the stigma of mental illness and how several members of this community are working to change that reality, to bring the reality of mental illness, recognizing that it's part of who we are in our community and we need to find responses to this. With me today are James Hirado, Director of Behavioral Health Services of Catholic Charities. Welcome, James.
Thank you.
Sharon Miller, Director of Social Ministry for the Cathedral of St. Joseph in the Diocese of San Jose. Welcome, Sharon.
Thank you.
And John Ronaldo, Director of Parish Partnerships at Catholic Charities. Welcome, John.
Thank you very much.
So when we address the issue of mental illness and that stigma, first we need to say, so who are the people that we serve at Catholic Charities and how do we serve them? How do we help them? So, James?
Well, in Catholic Charities, we have a wide continuum of services. We have programs that are called prevention and early intervention programs. So, and this is particularly with the kids. If something is just starting to develop, if we can intervene early, then we have a greater likelihood that things are going to get full blown and become more complicated over time. And we also provide services to people that maybe they do have an established history of having some kind of a mental health disorder and maybe require medication to really help manage that. So we offer a variety of services to people at different ages, people that have different types of mental disorders, everything from something that might be more of like an acute reaction to a stressful situation to maybe somebody that's dealing with something like schizophrenia where it really does require more help from a psychiatrist and more intensive sorts of services. We do provide some services to people that really do have a pretty significant history of mental health treatment as well. So there's a broad variety of people that we serve.
So there's a broad variety of people that you're serving, and how do you serve them? What sort of treatment do you give them?
Well, it ranges to everything from like preventative services that would be like maybe counseling or therapy, that sort of thing, to groups, to treatment with a treatment team where you have maybe a case manager, a psychiatrist, a therapist working together. Our criminal justice programs really are more intensive, where we have groups that happen 5 days a week. They're being treated and seen by a psychiatrist or a psychiatric nurse practitioner, and as indicated, they need therapy. So there's a wide variety of different types of services, and we endeavor to really incorporate practices that generate the best kinds of results, what we call evidence-based practices.
So what are some examples of evidence-based practices?
So in like the mental health arena, maybe a therapist, there's trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy for somebody that's coming out of some history where they've got significant trauma. That's a type of treatment that we incorporate that is helpful, has been proven to be helpful for people that have experienced that sort of like a pretty heavy-duty type of trauma. That and other types of cognitive behavioral therapy would be some of the examples of maybe evidence-based practices. In addition, we've got a couple of great psychiatrists and a great nurse practitioner that really keep up to date with innovations and changes with medication, that sort of thing.
Right. And so you serve a wide array of people, from seniors to folks coming out of the jails and the prisons,
yes,
to children, to individuals and couples and families, all of those people. Maybe you could tell us just about a couple of your programs. So how do you serve children through our behavioral health services?
Our children's behavioral health programs, I'll just focus on a couple of the ones that are at our Zanker facility. We have a program called Kindred Souls, and so this would be, we've got great clinical staff at the program that help families that are court referred, maybe working on a reunification, And this is with a therapist present, so they actually have an opportunity to work on some of the issues that may be contributed to the family being separated or the kid going into foster care, and working actively towards reunification. In addition to that, we have more traditional like family and children therapy, where they'd be seen by a clinician and provided therapy. And some of those kids, they might require like a medication evaluation, and they're seen by our medical director for the possibility of psychiatric medication. Mm-hmm. So those would be basically some of the services that we provide.
Right, good. So one of the programs that Catholic Charities has is trying to reach out into the community through a community counseling model. So
yes.
How does that differ from what you're doing with, say, the psychiatric services?
Well, that's probably our most flexible program, and John and I have really been working together quite a bit to figure out how to take our community counseling services and connect it to the parishes and use this as a vehicle, basically. But we've got this one program that we do have, community counseling services. It's not contracted with, say, our Department of Behavioral Health Services, so it's more flexible. There's more flexibility. And it's a fee-for-service program, so people pay maybe 1% of their income in order to access care and services. And it is very flexible. And we're actually, we've been talking quite a bit about how to utilize this so that maybe we can provide these community counseling services in the parishes, eventually. Use this as a model to actually integrate services.
Okay, great. So you're talking about integrated services in the parishes. So,
Yeah.
so John, parish partnership. So what are you seeing in the parishes in terms of their interest and concern around counseling support and mental health issues?
Well, I think there's a huge need. I mean, it's something as I speak with pastors and other lay leaders of churches, that there is a need for these types of services, but oftentimes they're not talking about it, because very much of the stigma that we were talking early on is people don't want to be seen as someone who has a mental illness or has depression or whatever, but they definitely need some services, and it happens on a cross section of demographics. It could be high-end demographics as far as wealth, low-end, anything in between, and so that's where the need for community counseling, because we can take referrals from anywhere, to get that out into the parishes and provide that service is something that could be really valuable to the very large Catholic community that we have here in Santa Clara County especially.
So Sharon, you come from a parish, from the cathedral, and,
Yes.
and working there, you see the need every day with people coming to your door every day asking for help. So what's the experience at the cathedral in terms of people knocking at your door who are struggling with mental illness, and what do you see that need?
Our focus at the cathedral is we're right there in the center of the downtown, and we have a window right next to there's a building adjacent to the cathedral, and we'll see about 200 people a day, individuals who are homeless, who have they'll have dual diagnoses of mental health, drug and alcohol, individuals who are attempting to rebuild their lives, and they're individuals who are Catholic who want to go to church. They're individuals who are from the other faith communities who want to be able to be included in their worship communities. So we're providing a service where we are tangibly helping the individual and yet welcoming them into our worship community space too. And it's a challenge, and we're very thankful where we have a partnership with Gardner Healthcare. We have a free healthcare clinic on site. And then our newest ministry brings each one of us together here today is Bridges of Hope. Bridges of Hope is a ministry, a project where it grew out of the state of California voters voting in Assembly AB 109. We didn't want to build jails. We wanted to see something other than a punitive response to what we're doing in terms of rehabilitation. And what we have been able to do is generate the monies to our local level, to the County Department of Mental Health. Through the County Department of Mental Health, Catholic Charities, the Cathedral Basilica of St. Joseph, and then First Christian Church Recovery Cafe, we were able to leverage and bring the monies together to build Bridges of Hope. And through Bridges of Hope, we're able to provide case management services to help individuals just released from jail to be able to move into housing, maintain recovery, and be a welcoming community, embracing them into their faith community. And it's been a wonderful project to work together, a wonderful ministry to work together on. It's just amazing working with the probation department, and the probation department's able to focus on individuals where they've done well in jail. The chaplains have been visiting them, and they just don't want to release them without having a place to go. And so they'll send them right to the cathedral and say, Bridges of Hope is there, check in, and they'll help you with what you need to locate employment, to locate housing, and to maintain recovery, and if there are any mental health challenges. And it's just being able to work with Catholic Charities and the behavioral health team and the recovery programs. I've never seen something work so quickly once we were able to mobilize and bring our partnerships together.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a very innovative program, and Sharon's leadership has just been very much appreciated in terms of getting this thing going. And it really there's a lot of people that come to this program, and we have two great staff that are really working with Sharon, and then Dana Bainbridge from First Christian Church. It's just been a great partnership, and we're working to integrate our services on the behalf of these folks that some of them are coming out of prison that they haven't been, in the community for 20 years. And so it's like back to the future. There's like a real shock, and so as we work together and as we integrate our services, we're really helping to provide a little bit more of an integrated solution for some of these folks that really do need quite a bit of help.
So as we look at integrated solutions, it seems like Bridges of Hope. What a great name!
Yeah.
That it's
Right.
really giving people
is.
that
She came up with a name.
We were in the middle of a prayer.
You prayed that.
We could, the ingenuity and the brilliance of
Yes.
this is we can say
Yeah.
a prayer since we're church. And Bridges
I
of
know,
Hope was
it's
in the
great.
prayer, and
Exactly.
James had this epiphany. The name of the program is Bridges of Hope.
Wow. She prayed, Lord, thank you for the bridges of hope that you're creating. It's like just, yeah.
Wow,
So cool.
that's amazing.
So that is such an innovative approach to helping people re-enter and also reduce stigma, but through a faith-based approach. So you're integrating all of these services, and you're connecting people back into the faith community. So when we return in a minute, I want to talk to you a little bit more about the importance of faith in someone's recovery, and this amazing conference, of faith-based stigma reduction conference that you're going to be holding shortly, and to let people know a little bit more about this. So when we come back, you'll learn a little bit more about Bridges of Hope and the faith-based stigma reduction conference coming up. This is Change Lives for Good.
Catholic Charities of Santa Clara County is helping to lessen the stigma of those suffering from mental health disorders throughout the county by providing a wide range of mental health services. Community counseling services offers therapy for issues such as anxiety, depression, mood disorders, substance abuse, trauma, relationship challenges, sexual issues, grief and loss, court-required individual therapy, problems at work, parenting challenges, anger management issues, and life transitions. These services are offered to people of all faiths and nationalities in a supportive and professional environment. Catholic Charities of Santa Clara County also offers a child and family counseling center, which provides therapeutic services for children ages 6 through 17 and their families. Another service of Catholic Charities Mental Health is Kindred Souls. Our supervised visitation program seeks to provide children in foster care and their families of origin the opportunity to visit in a home-like supervised environment, utilizing therapeutic approaches and interventions to address areas of difficulty in the family relationship. Catholic Charities of Santa Clara County Behavioral Health for Older Adults program is a full-service partnership contract with the Department of Behavioral Health to serve low-income older adults living with acute behavioral illness. This program is available to persons 60 years or older with a history of 2 or more behavioral health episodes leading to hospitalization or emergency psychiatric service visits in the last year, and ready to step down from acute psychiatric services with appropriate support.
As a social service and social justice arm of the Catholic Church, Catholic Charities of Santa Clara County looks to be intentional partners with our Catholic parishes and schools in the work of social justice through providing programs and services, engaging in volunteer opportunities, and strengthening parish social ministry efforts.
About 3 out of 10 people suffer from some form of mental illness. Some manifestations can be very clear, as when someone disrupts your worship service or a mass due to a mental illness. Other types of mental illness may not be as detectable. Mental illness is prevalent across all races and intellectual and socioeconomic lines. If you have ever felt nervous about working with a member of your congregation that had a mental illness because you weren't sure how to support them, this event may be of help. Meeting the needs of those in your faith community that have some form of mental illness can at times be challenging. People who suffer from such conditions also often feel stigmatized because of it, which can make it difficult for them to connect with faith communities. How do we create an inclusive and accepting community where reconciliation and healing can take place? How do you serve members of your church with mental illness in a way that is pastoral and helpful? This free event for clergy and pastoral leaders offers practical training on working with parishioners with mental illness and helping reduce the stigma. With 6 different workshops to choose from, a keynote speaker, lunch, and a prayer service with Bishop Patrick McGraw of the Diocese of San Jose, this is a day that all clergy and pastoral leaders won't want to miss.
Catholic Charities works to end poverty by helping families and individuals get the tools they need to become more self-reliant. It offers a hand up rather than a handout through a wide range of services and serves more than 41,000 people each year of all cultures and beliefs.
Hello and welcome back to Change Lives for Good. I'm your host, Greg Kepferle, CEO of Catholic Charities of Santa Clara County. And with me are James Gerardo, John Ronaldo, and Sharon Miller. And we're talking about the issue of stigma and mental health and some solutions that we're working on together with faith-based reentry and this faith-based stigma reduction conference that's coming up. But the key element here is faith. And so what role does faith play in helping someone move from a situation where they're really struggling with mental illness to a point of recovery where they're moving towards health? Sharon?
Individuals who have experienced a tremendous amount of brokenness in their life, and everything's being taken away from their housing to just maybe family relationships, just the brokenness they're encountering in life. What they have left is God. God is constant, and people turn to God. They turn to faith when they're struggling to be whole again, and it is within our faith communities, it's within one's relationship with God where an individual can be able to seek within the depthness of themselves and within others wholeness through our spiritual connectedness.
So that connection to spirituality, connection to God, I'm seeing you both nodding, you're obviously in that. But part of that is, so you guys get it because you're people of faith and you're professionals. Mm-hmm. So what led you on your life journey, kind of what's motivating you to dedicate your life to helping serve people and help them move towards wellness?
Sure. If I could say something about that, just in my own growing up, my own journey and what God has meant to me in helping me through my own brokenness and my own pain and my own difficulties that He's really helped me with. And so I believe in Jesus, and I believe that He is a healer, and that it says in Scripture that the Lord delights in the well-being of His servants, and that He wants us to be well. You know, it's God's desire for us to be whole and to be well. And certainly, if you read the Gospels, you see the people that encountered Jesus that were going through all manner of suffering and difficulty. He helped them. He did help them. And then to love, as God's helped me, for me to love my neighbor as myself. And so as I see somebody going through suffering, I recognize my own suffering and how the Lord helped me. And that, I could see Jesus in them and be able to help them with whatever God's given me that might bear on their situation and be of assistance. So on a personal level, that's kind of how I get looped in.
Right, that's great. that the healing ministry of Jesus and loving your neighbor. John, what about you?
I think the holistic approach is really important. You do a sociological study, and every civilization that ever existed, there is some sort of spirituality, there's some sort of faith that came out, whether it was Christianity or anything else. There are so many, and so spirituality and faith is a part of being human. And so we can't just deal with maybe the mental issues or the emotional issues or the physical issues. We also have to do that spiritual issue. And that's true in my own life. I grew up in the Catholic Church my entire life, and I can't imagine what my life would be without the guidance of my faith in leading me in the direction, because I truly feel called to the work that I do. Now currently at Catholic Charities, and that's just a big part of who we are as human beings, is that spirituality.
Right. If I could just say something, I just like to think of the 12-step movement. And the 12-step movement was born out of a Bible study, and if you research or know anything about 12-step groups, there's almost like 12-step group for anything you can think of.
Right. Yes.
But it starts out that my life has become unmanageable, and I came to realize that there's a power greater than myself, so that I can restore my life to sanity. And then step 3, to turn my life over to that higher power. And so, I mean, just with the recovery, we talk about recovery a lot, but the first 3 steps of just any 12-step meeting, it has to do with spirituality.
Right. So this is, and it's recovery from an illness. And mental illness, we tend to separate that from physical illness, but it's really a brain illness, right? Yeah, so why do we do that? So,
right. I mean, if anybody just talked about illness, it's just when you put the word mental in front of it, that suddenly takes on this stigma. But I mean, if you have an illness, if you have a cold, you have a cold. If you have leukemia, you're dealing with something more serious, you have that illness, you get treatment for it. And so why would it be any different if something is coming out of the Diagnostic Statistical Manual for Mental Illness, that book that describes illness, versus the ICD-9, which categorizes all illnesses, that the DSM is actually in that. It's just another illness. And so if you have an illness, you get treatment. If it's a mild illness, you get treatment. If it's a mental illness and it's mild, you get treatment for it, you get help for it. And so I think that a lot of the stigma comes when you just put the word mental in front of it, and there's a lot of things that unfortunately been put out by media or films or whatever that just kind of create a lot of lies about what this is about.
Right.
But it's really, you're dealing with some form of illness.
Right. So with a form of illness, we want to bring healing, right?
Right, exactly.
And so with that, we've got this faith-based stigma reduction conference coming up.
Yes.
John, you want to tell us a little bit about this?
Journeying Together in Faith, You're Not Alone. It's a full-day experience that we're doing on a Thursday, October 23rd at the Cathedral, St. Joseph on Market Street. And it's a full-day experience for the faith leaders in the Santa Clara County of all faith communities and all denominations. Because the reality is that our churches and our faith communities are on the front lines of dealing with those with mental illness, either diagnosed or undiagnosed. And I know that even as a faith leader myself, that I'm poorly equipped to be able to deal with those that are coming into our doors on a regular basis. I want to support them. I want to love on them. I want to be pastoral and help them in their illness, but I don't have the skills. I don't have the ability to do that. And that's what this day is all about. It's geared for the faith community, for faith leaders, to get some of those basic skills. Folks aren't going to walk away being professional therapists or anything like that, but we'll provide people just the foundation that they need to hopefully respond to this population in a pastoral way that's really going to meet their needs and not run away from it or not be fearful of the mental illness that might be in our members in our community. And so I'm very excited about the day. We have great speakers coming in, and it's a free event that's funded actually by Proposition 63 that's kind of helping make some of this happen. And so we're very blessed to have this opportunity. And Sharon is part of the team, and has some insight, I'm sure, as well.
So that's a cue or something.
Yeah.
It's. I'm thankful. The team members have been just wonderful in terms of John, you facilitating us and keeping us on target.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
The day is going to unfold with keynote speaker, and then we're going to have the Bishop of San Jose, Bishop McGraw. He'll celebrate a prayer service within the cathedral. And then we'll have workshops to choose from, and some real tangible skills hopefully individuals can bring home to their own parish in terms of how to work with mental health, taking illness out of it and saying mental health, and being able to just center individuals within a prayer community and how to work with people and being sensitive and compassionate to what's going on in their life.
Right.
Absolutely.
And a lot of it is also being aware of what are the resources that are out there. I think we have a rich list of resources and great organizations in Santa Clara County. They're doing tremendous work, including Catholic Charities, including the county, including Bridges of Hope and the Cathedral, and making folks in the faith community aware of those resources so that they have some follow-up opportunities to take advantage of, so that they know who to contact at the county or somewhere else if they need more information or more help or more training.
Right. You know, sometimes this stuff seems very mystical. You know, like this whole demystifying things and addressing stigma, things that are maybe not based in truth. So that's another thing too. Is just how to you know, what are the resources that are available? Maybe what are some things that seem like they're just mystified, you know, in terms of mental health and wellness and those kinds of ideas, and how it relates to people that may be suffering from some kind of an illness that happens to be a mental illness.
Right, yeah. So what's the date again, John?
It's October 23rd. It's a Thursday, and it's from 8:30 to 3 p.m.
And how do people find out about it? How do people register?
The best way to go is to our Catholic Charities homepage, so catholiccharities.scc.org, and you go down to events, you'll see Journeying Together in Faith. Click on the link. All the information is there. It's got all the speakers, all the descriptions, and there's a click, register here, click the button, and register, and you're good to go.
Okay, terrific. Well, thank you. James, Sharon, John.
Pleasure.
Thank you for this conversation on how we can reduce the stigma of mental illness, and think about it as we're moving towards mental health. We're moving towards healing and doing it in a really exciting, creative way with Bridges of Hope in that collaborative partnership with Recovery Cafe, with the Cathedral and Catholic Charities, that holistic, integrated approach, and then especially with this conference coming up. So thank you all for being here, and thank you for watching Change Lives for Good. And remember to reach out, speak up, and change lives for good.